This is the Personal Foul Podcast. Got a date of August 15th, 2019. Got a special guest coming on the show here, Chris Shearn, who's a former rowing prof just like myself. Thanks for coming on.
No problem, buddy. I'm always a prof, not a former prof, a lifetime prof. You could reach me at Shearny17 on the Instagram and Chris Shearn YES on the Twitter machine. So please, if you're not following me, get out there and follow me.
Yes, give him a follow. He does work for the YES Network. Pretty cool. When I found out about it, I gave a little shout out, reached out to him, and very thankful that he answered me.
Hey, that's part of the business. It's part of the job. It's helping, people coming up in the business. I always say, if somebody has their hand up and they got knocked down, you reach your hand down and you help pick them up. So that's what it is. And it's a special opportunity to come on with you, Colton, because of our rowing connection. It's always nice to see other rowing students getting involved and starting their careers out. So it's my pleasure.
Well, definitely. I appreciate you coming on. And to start off, as you touched on being a rowing prof, what was your experience like at Rowan and working yourself through to become what you are right now, working at the YES Network and being a host?
I loved it there. It's a not small, but small campus. You know what I'm talking about. It's not like enormous. You could walk. Well, when I was there, you could walk to all your classes. Bozarth was the communications building. That's where the radio station is. And I got involved with the radio station. And before I left, I was the president of the Radio and TV Association. Because when I was there, this is what really started me getting very interested in the business, is when I became president of the RTVA Association. And we didn't have any equipment. And the only thing we used our campus TV station for was the cafeteria, putting a menu up, and birthdays. Wow. So me and a couple of my classmates were saying, we got to go. We got to for this RTVA, and we got to make a change. So we went. We got $30,000 from the student government as a grant to start getting equipment. And I didn't get to experience it because it was my last semester there. But the students after me got to be involved with an actual TV station, and I've met the kids that helped out. And to me, that's like the best feeling in the world. Even though I didn't get to use the equipment and to make a show or to be involved in some extracurriculars with our TV station, I was happy that we were the springboard for the future generations of students at Rowan to get involved. And the radio station helped me out a great deal. I hosted the morning show, the Early Bird Special. I also had a sports show every Thursday called Sports Force with Jason Weber, and Jason is now with NFL Films. He was with ESPN previously. He has Emmys that stack his bookshelves, so Jason's doing really well. It's nice to hear Jason's doing really well. And he also gets me on the NFL Films top 10 shows, which you'll see from time to time on the NFL Network. So if you see me, it's in direct correlation to being involved and being friends with somebody from Rowan. This business is huge, but it's also very small at the same time.
It definitely is, especially who you know. And as you touched on with building the Rowan station and stuff, it definitely, as you touched on, it's definitely good to see people, building off of what you started. And it actually makes you feel good because I'm an Eagle Scout. And I made my Eagle project, and when you see other people working on it and other kids use it, it definitely makes yourself feel better. And it's like what you did was really good for the community and just, as you touched on, for the campus of Rowan. I know I work for Rowan Radio, 89.7 WGLS. That's grown very big with Rowan. And it just to know that it started from someone like you and seeing where you're at, it's definitely glad to see you're doing very well with yourself.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm in the Hall of Fame at Rowan Radio, which is a ridiculous honor for me. I was inducted maybe a decade ago, and Frank Hogan was the general manager at the time, and Frank was the GM when I was down there at Rowan, and he's the GM emeritus now, and he's still involved and he still goes in there and he helps out. I mean, it's a family type atmosphere. It really is. And it goes back to saying, you know, it's not completely small, but it's so small where your professors are going to know your name and not identify you by social security number. The university has grown. I mean, when I was accepted, it was Rowan College. It was actually Glassboro State College still.
Glassboro State, yeah.
Dating myself. But it was Rowan College, and we needed a couple more schools to become a university, and we needed to make improvements to the library, and you know we did that. And it is a university now, and it continues to grow in the engineering department, and the medical field is growing down there as well. It's just so nice to see that my alma mater is doing big things. It might be a Division III school, and you know, people might not recognize it because that's what most people like relate their schools with, is their football team or their basketball program. Our university, I mean, I always think about the academic angle of it. And when I was there, we won a national championship in basketball, so it's not bad athletically either. So
no, they had a very good season this year, basketball too.
Yeah,
good season.
You have the best of both worlds, and I just couldn't have asked for a better situation when I was accepted there and when I did all my work there.
Yeah, the school definitely has grown a lot. Yeah, as you touched on, from it being Glassboro State to Rowan College to now university, they actually tried making a Division I school, which is a huge jump from D3 to D1. So that wasn't going to happen, but the school's grown so much, from the Boulevard in general to Holly Point not being a thing, Robo. The university is huge now. Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And what they've done to downtown Glassboro is like, it's like they erased it and then rebuilt it. It's amazing.
Yes, it's insane. And then they've also added a few programs, like you touched on. Their engineering program is very, very good. They also just added a sports communications major, so that's cool. I'm actually minoring in that. So kind of glad they added it when they did, so I at least can minor in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And I would love to be involved. I know you said you want to get me back down there this next semester, and you know I'd be happy to do that. Part of my job description is giving back. And if I could give back, and it's not only giving back, Colton, it's giving hope. Because, you know, a lot of young kids graduate, they go out into the field, or they try to go out in the field, and it's so hard to find work. I walk in there and I tell them my story. It gives them that glimmer of hope that, hey, he went to Rowan, he's successful, he's doing this, he's doing that. He's not the only one. I can name 10 people off the top of my head from my class, the class before me, or the class after me, that's really making a lot of noise in the world of television, entertainment, film. I mean, Rowan is a great basis. It's the foundation. It's a great foundation for everyone to be able to start, feel comfortable, and get involved with the radio station, the TV station. It's just a great environment. Without
a doubt. There definitely is a lot to look into with Rowan, and it definitely is tough, especially in this field. I've had my moments sitting there thinking about it. I mean, it definitely makes you think, because I know this business is so hard, but I have the passion for sports and I really want to do this, and I'm going to work my tail off to, you know, see how far I can make it, and if I can make it and one day be as successful as you are.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's hard work, and I would be lying to you if a little bit of luck didn't come along with the hard work, but hard work creates that luck. And, you know, I was very blessed to, you know, at Rowan, I was sent to the NATPE conference, the National Association of Television Producers and Engineers. It was out in Las Vegas. We were there for 8 days. We were the interns. We showed people where the bathrooms were and where to get drink and where to get food. But we all got breaks, and we could go walk on the floor, and we can meet people, and we can network. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was 15 students from Rowan and 15 students from different universities from around the country. And the 30 of us all got along. We had a great time. And I always joke about it, Colton. I say I had to go all the way to Las Vegas to meet somebody from South Hackensack, New Jersey at Major League Baseball Productions. And he gave me his card and he said, hey, when you get back and you're done with school, give me a call and we'll get you in for an interview. And you know what? I got to give that guy a lot of credit. He got me the interview. And that was my first job, watching baseball games and getting paid for it. I said, I could be doing this at home for free, but I'm here doing it. And I'm working hard and I'm doing everything that they asked me to do. And I started to advance there quickly. I mean, after 2 months, I was already starting to make the strides into the next positions at MLB Network Productions. And then as luck would have it, but again, the hard work, in my estimation, makes that luck for you. I was coaching my brother's senior Little League team, and my shortstop's aunt worked for CNBC, and she said she was starting MSNBC, and they needed help. They needed production assistants, and they were giving out benefits, and that was something I didn't have at Major League Baseball, and it was something very important because you got to go to the doctor, let's face it. So I sent her my resume, and the rest is history. I started MSNBC, and if I didn't start at MSNBC, Colton, I would have never met Jeff Green, who was the producer on the Imus in the Morning show there. And Jeff left MSNBC and started the Mike and the Mad Dog show on, you guessed it, the YES Network, and he brought me over, and the rest is history.
Yes, the rest is history. And as you touched on with the MLB, we're going to hop into what you guys cover on the YES Network, the New York Yankees. The Yankees are one of the hottest news right now in MLB with the Dodgers and the Astros. Covering the Yankees like you guys do on the YES Network, what are your expectations with the Yankees? Me being a Yankees fan, it's like mixed emotions right now with the Yanks because they're playing great baseball right now as they just demolished the AAA Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I don't know, man. I didn't like that they didn't really do much at the deadline. What's your take on the Yanks?
I was just talking about this with a coworker of mine, and this is exactly why you don't win the World Series on July 31st. Now the Astros are dealing with Garrett Cole and a hamstring injury. They said it's not that serious, but he might miss a start, and you don't know if that's going to linger. And their bullpen is starting to look human now. It was once the fifth best bullpen in Major League Baseball, and now they're starting to show signs of kryptonite being around their bullpen. So Jeff Nelson, who did the pre- and post-game show with me right out of the All-Star break, when he said this, I perked up because I always say this about a 162-game baseball season. Ebb and flow, peaks and valleys. Fans I know are rabid, and they live on every pitch and every inning. But over the span of a 162-game season, you have to understand something. And I know it's hard as Yankee fans too, because it's been 10 years since they won a World Series.
Yeah.
So everybody's getting a little antsy, but you're going to have that up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the season. You have to pace yourself. You can't live and die on a loss to the Orioles on April 1st when you know you have like 158 games left in the season. And that's what happened with the Yankees. They started 1-2 against the Orioles, and then they ripped off 16 straight wins. I mean, that's insane. That's absolutely insane that a team could just rip off 16 consecutive wins. But the Orioles have been an absolute trash heap, just as everyone was predicting them to be. But the Yankees did what they needed to do against them, Colton. They handled their business. They beat them, and they beat them to a pulp. It was an unbelievable display, especially Gleyber Torres. I mean, he had 13 home runs against this team. It was one shy of the major league record. I think that was Lou Gehrig. He had 14 against one team.
Yes, it was.
So you think about that, and listen, we can start talking about the majors and how pitching is going south and everything else. But as I say to everybody, you play what the schedule says you play. Now they're going to get a test against this Indians team coming in this weekend. We're going to see what we're going to see what this Yankee team is made of over these 4 games against Cleveland. So let's just hold our breath and get through the weekend. This is going to be a nice litmus test to see where this Yankee team and these next man up, the next guy up, that's been happening all season long with the injuries. I mean, geez, I've never seen in my lifetime a team go through this many injuries. I've just never seen it. And not only go through the injuries, Colton, I also do the Nets. I mean, they had their injuries too, but you know how hard it is to get the quote-unquote next man up and to just step in and not lose production. That's not easy. That's hard.
It's crazy when you bring in guys
Yeah,
like Gio Urshela, Mike Talkman, Cameron Maben, guys who were not that
yeah.
productive in their other locations.
Maben was hitting over 200 when Cashman picked him up at the end of April in Triple A. You know, he
Exactly.
was on the trash heap. Mike Talkman, his first 2 years in the league with the Colorado Rockies, he batted 222 and then 91. This guy's batting close to 300 with the Yankees. Gio Urshela, he never hit, I think, over 230, 240. He's hitting 325, 327, whatever the heck he's doing. It's just an amazing stretch of baseball. And I know Yankee fans, and by the way, before I forget, they're 81-41 as we tape this podcast. The last time they were 40 games over 500 was 2009. This team and what it's doing, and think about this for a second. They are 40 games over 500 without their ace, without a key bullpen piece, and without Giancarlo Stanton. Those three guys for almost the entire season. Stanton's played 9 games. Severino and Betances haven't stepped foot on the field.
Yeah, even
This
touched the
team
mound.
is 40 games over 5. Think about that. Before you send out a tweet that you're worried about this or that or the other thing, think about that. What I just said, they're 40 games over 500 without those three guys taking the mound or standing in the batter's box. It's truly amazing.
It is truly amazing. And you had these names like Harper and Machado signing all over the place, getting all the money, Nolan Arenado getting paid by the Rockies. And here comes Cashins slipping in the rough. Signing DJ LeMahieu has been
Unreal.
the savior for the Yankees. And golly, he's been great.
Well, he wasn't supposed to play every day, Colton.
Now he's
Think
going to
about
be the
that.
super utility guy. Super utility
Right? He
guy.
was gonna fill in at first. He was gonna fill in at second and fill in at third. And Miguel Andujar, I kind of had a feeling that he wasn't going to make it. I mean, when you're dealing with a labrum tear in your throwing shoulder, I mean, the writing was on the wall with him. He gutted it out. He was tough about it. He tried to go with it. I give him credit for that, but you had to understand that it wasn't going to work. And then when LeMahieu's playing third almost every day, you're like, wow, this guy hits to all fields. He's like a throwback. And then his teammates, Aaron Hicks calls him the machine, with all due respect to Albert Pujols, who's also the machine. But this guy just doesn't stop hitting. I mean, the Red Sox in London had this ridiculous shift on him. It was Benintendi who was playing like left center. LeMahieu pulls one down the left field line, and I'm sitting there watching this saying, how are you shifting against this guy? You have to play him straight up because he will destroy you. And this, Colton, was exactly what the Yankees were missing last season. They were missing a guy that could put the bat on the ball, hit to all fields, and it's not just him. It's Urshela. Those two guys, along with Talkman, let's be honest, and they bring up Mike Ford. Mike Ford has the game-winning RBI against the Orioles in the last game. It's just amazing. Whoever they bring up, they get the job done. It's one of the most ridiculous teams and ridiculous runs I've ever seen, especially, again, with all the injuries. I can't say it enough.
With all the injuries, it's not even a question. It's crazy, especially when you touch Kansas and your ace and Severino not touching the mound at all. It's crazy. And you got
and think about the opener. Yeah, and Herman. Herman's been ridiculous, and I think their record using the opener is like 11-1 or 12-1, something like that.
Oh, the stat with Chad Green as the opener is insane.
Yeah, it's insane. And he's pitched better, and with Betances not in that bullpen, when he comes back, Aaron Boone's going to have another arm because look, when we get to the postseason, because it's all academic now. They're making the postseason. They're winning the AL East. It's over. I'm very confident in saying that the Rays, are not going to go on a ridiculous run, and the Red Sox, I mean, they've been dead and buried for a long time now, and it's just nice to have that come out of my mouth right now,
It
that
is.
the Red Sox
Especially after
are dead
last
and buried.
season. 17 and a half
Yeah.
for Boston and 10
Before Labor Day, they're not even going to make the postseason. I mean, that's how pathetic they've been this year, and that just goes to, their manager on the Duck Boat last year for their championship party saying the Yankees could suck it. Well, Mr. Cora, now you can.
taste your medicine, Alex.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and Yankee fans are right. I mean, it's nice to see them 17 and a half games back, but at the same time, if the Yankees don't win the World Series this year, what's it all about? I mean, this drought has to end, and I was just talking about this with my batting practice today producer. We're going to interview Willie Randolph on tomorrow's show, and we're going to talk about the similarities between the start of Willie's career and the start of Judge and Sanchez and Glaber, their career, because Willie came over to the Yankees in a trade with the Pirates in 1976. That year, the Yankees got swept in the World Series by the Big Red Machine. I mean, they were just an unbelievable force. The Yankees had something building at that time, and we saw it with the wins in 77 and 78. But what Willie and I want to talk about on tomorrow's BP show on Friday, before the Indians, we're going to talk about the 77 team and how that clubhouse felt, getting to the World Series in 1976 and then actually winning back-to-back World Series. And that drought was 15 years. So it's not quite the same amount, but it's approaching that amount.
It is.
So I can't wait to have that conversation with him. I want to get his feel, his thoughts, being a new Yankee, being in that World Series, and really his rookie season in 1976. He did have a cup of coffee with the Pirates in 75 as his first year in the majors, but he really got an extended period of playing time in 76. So I really want to get his thoughts on that. And it's just this, you have Judge and you have Sanchez in that 2017 series against the Astros where they went on an incredible run the last year. Joe Girardi was in charge, and they were just a game away from making the World Series. They had a taste. I want to know what it's like to have that taste and want to get back. And this,
last year, getting beat up by Boston like that, they definitely got a taste, and it definitely got to aggravate guys. And as much as I'm not a huge Stanton guy, I'm not a huge Giancarlo Stanton fan, and as much as him not being here right now, and if he does come back or if he doesn't, I think him not being in the lineup with his bat, I think could help in the postseason. Because no offense, I love Stanton. What you saw with him in Miami, he was impressive. Those numbers were insane. But you saw last year in the postseason, a ton of strikeouts, a ton. It's just like you're sitting here begging for a hit. Not even a home run. I just wanted a hit, and you got nothing.
Yeah.
Strikeout after strikeout. Where this year you got guys like DJ LeMahieu, Talkman, Maben, Urshela. They're not just home run guys. They put the ball over the field. So
yeah, that's
definitely crazy this season.
It's exactly what I said. I mean, that's what this team was lacking the past 2 years. And I forget the exact number, but in that Houston series in 17, I think they scored 18 runs in Houston. 18 runs at home and 3 runs total in Houston. And I know in Game 7, because it haunts me, they were 3 for 30. 3 for 30 as a team in that game. And everybody's scared of the Houston pitching, and they should be if they're healthy. Their 1-2 punch of Verlander and Cole, if you have to face those guys twice to win a 7-game series, you got to give the edge to the Astros.
Don't forget Greinke in that mix too, man, because you can see Greinke.
Oh, yeah.
And crazy.
He doesn't scare me as much as the first two, though. When I see Garrett Cole throwing 100 in his 7th or 8th, that's like calling on Betances, in the 8th inning for the Yankees. You're still using your starter. It's just that those two scare me. And now adding Greinke to the mix, it does scare me a little bit more. But I think the Yankees could get to Greinke. I really think they do. And the way this lineup, Colton, is hitting this season, I have a better feeling. Even with the injuries, I have a better feeling with this team as it's constituted right now going forward towards the postseason. I don't know why, I just do. This team has a different feel. Like Aaron Boone said, somebody asked him in a post-game press conference, I think they were down by 5 runs after the first or second inning, and he said, what's the team's attitude when you go down 5 early? And they came back and won that game, by the way. And he goes, somebody said, what's the team's attitude? And he just looked directly at the beat reporter and said, our game. That's the mindset. And I think that's what separates this team from former teams. Everybody says, 27 outs. It's cliche in baseball, but this team, until you get that last out, you can't count this team out.
You cannot.
That's how amazing they've been this season. And that's why I can't wait for October baseball. And I can't wait to not have to deal with that wild card game.
That's awesome.
Game 1 of the ALDS, you could just, take a sigh, take a deep breath, like, all right, if we lose this one, we're still good. It's not the most ideal situation, but our season isn't over. So that's going to be nice and comfortable to deal with this season. But this team, like I said, it just has a different feel.
And it does. It definitely does. Like I said, no offense to Stanton, but just not having him out there, not worrying about him striking out and shriveling up in the big moment like it is in New York. Because if you're in New York, it's win or go home. They're not taking the, great regular season stats. You have to produce.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. No one – if you hit 350 in the regular season and you go 0 for 20 in the playoffs, if you go 0 for 20 in the playoffs, people aren't going to remember the 350 and the 50 home runs and 150 RBI. They're going to remember your futility when it came to October. People in New York, don't forget, it's a bunch of elephants in those stands. They have great memories, and they know who rises to the occasion in the postseason, and they remember the guys that don't. Now, Stanton, in his defense, I will say this about him. In August, when Judge was hurt, Stanton played through injury, and he helped carry the team. But again, what I just said, people don't remember August. People remember October. People remember that 9th inning where Kimbrel was losing his you-know-what, and he just couldn't find the strike zone, and Stanton was a strikeout in that inning on a pitch that literally was almost in the left-handed batter's box.
Yeah, I remember where I was for that. I was camping, and I was screaming my head off. Head off at the campground. Everybody probably looked at me and goes nuts, but oh, my goodness.
And then you have good at-bats throughout the lineup after that. And let's be honest here, Colton. Gary Sanchez is maybe a millimeter away from hitting a grand slam and seeing a Game 5 in Fenway. I mean, his sac fly, it's almost a warning track in left. He just missed that. I mean, we're not even talking about Stanton, this and that. We're talking about a Game 5, and who knows what happens in that Game 5. But unfortunately, the Red Sox won. They go on to win the World Series, and they've won 4, and the Yankees have won 1 in this century. And that's what everybody thinks about. No one thinks about 100 wins a year. Everybody thinks about the wins in the postseason, and more importantly, raising that trophy up.
Without a doubt. And it's definitely, just to wrap up, going into the playoffs, would you be surprised with the Yankees using an opener in the playoffs?
I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. And here's the way I think it would work. You'd be surprised. Now, I don't know. It all depends on how Severino gets built up. I just saw our Jack Curry tweet out. He threw today in the outfield, and he was throwing with purpose. Letting it go, Jack said, from where he was sitting in the press box. And then Aaron Boone said they want to get him in front of hitters, live hitters at the stadium. Then they're going to send him down to Tampa. And what Severino said to Jack was he wants at least 2 to 3 games to build his arm up to where he could throw 70 to 75 pitches, and then he'll feel comfortable enough to come up. So if he's not, by the time he gets back, and you're looking at maybe first, second week of September, and second week.
I was thinking mid-September.
Yeah, so if he's able to build his arm up to 90 pitches, you could start him. But if he isn't there, or he has a setback and he's set back a little bit, you could start Chad Green and then have Severino be the bulk guy and have him get you 4 or 5 innings after Green throws that first inning. And if you could do that, and Severino is on his game, and then you could hand the ball off to Betances, if healthy. Tommy Canley, who's been ridiculous this year. Ottavino and Chapman. Listen, I mean, yes, and Britton. You could say that, see, I'm an old school guy. I hate the opener. But if you have Severino in the mix and you can get Green through that first inning against the Astros' top 3 hitters, and then you have your ace, quote unquote, who hasn't started all season, go the next 4 or 5 innings, and you get that offense to get you a lead, I'm telling you, you got something cooking. And if the Yankees are going to do anything they have to do to get to the World Series and hopefully be playing the Dodgers, wouldn't that be something? You know, we're just talking about 77 and 78 when they beat them back-to-back back then. And it could be another Yankees-Dodgers World Series, one for the ages. They haven't met there since 1981 when the Dodgers got the best of them. And you remember all the New York Yankees and Brooklyn Dodgers World Series back in the day. So it's just a huge rivalry. And it would be so good for the game, so good for Yankee fans, especially if they won it, obviously.
But it'd be great. Two of the biggest markets in the world right there.
Yeah, I can't wait for October. I just can't wait.
It's definitely going to be interesting. But thank you, Chris, for coming on. It definitely was a blast. If you want to give yourself a shout out one more time where people can find you.
Yeah. For sure. I've got the batting practice show the 16th, the Friday at 6:00 against the Indians. And then next week, I'm in late with the A's. I have the pre and post game show. I'm filling in for Bob. I'll be by myself at the desk, but I'll be having fun as I do it. And then next Friday on CBS Sports Network, I have a national WNBA game between the New York Liberty and the Atlanta Dream. So a busy week, and then followed by next Saturday and Sunday, I'll be doing BP against the Dodgers. So I got a busy week next week.
Busy week. You can follow him at Chris Shearn, yes, on Twitter. Definitely a great follow. Gives you plenty of information with the Liberty and everything going on at the YES Network. So thank you again for coming on.
Colton, my pleasure. Anytime you need me, all you got to do is shout.
I definitely will. You can follow the podcast at @foul_podcast. Thank you very much for listening.